Things first, talking the latest around CeeDee Lamb and his contract negotiations. Jerry Jones was asked before the Cowboys preseason game yesterday about his all-pro wide receiver, and believe it or not, he said, you know what, I will talk to the media and let me give you my thoughts. Here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
I think I got in trouble a little the other day when I said, look, we're not urgent about CeeDee. Well, no one appreciates CeeDee being on the field any more than I do. Bottom line is, what it is no, there's not that urgency. Now, I understand completely the angst that's happening when you're anxious about and someone says anything about whether you're missed or not. Well, CeeDee, you're missed, okay? But you're not missed out here competing, and it doesn't put any pressure any place on us.
Okay, so I think what he was saying there at the end is you're missed, but we wouldn't be playing you in this specific game anyway. So tonight you're not missed, but holistically you are missed. I think that's the Jerry translation. By the way, go ahead.
I think it's more like, hey, you're missed, but not missed enough to pay you the amount of money that you want to get paid. We don't miss you that much.
Coach Mangini, obviously here. Greg Jennings here. Wilds be back tomorrow. Greg, start with you. Whose side are you on in this right now, Jerry or CeeDee's?
I'm with CeeDee Lamb. Like, there comes a point in time, like, you have kids, Coach, you have kids, I have kids. We all have been a kid, and we've all heard this. Actions speak louder than words. Like, you can tell me, there's only so many times I can say, oh, Nick, I'll show up, I'll be there, yeah. I'll be there. But if I never come,
correct. Yeah.
Eventually you're not going to ask me any longer. You're not going to even want me to come because it's like my actions have shown I'm not reliable.
It's a weird
they don't
example
match
for a
up.
guy who skipped my wedding to make
it is
sure,
a little bit.
Go ahead,
but I didn't tell you I was coming. And I happened to be there in the city.
I mean, he happened to be in Kansas City during my wedding. Just had something else going on. But I understand your point. I got it. Go ahead.
Like for me, when you continue to talk about how much you appreciate a guy and how much he values CeeDee Lamb and what he means to this offense, and then you don't line that up and pair that with saying, okay, you know what, we're going to pay you because I know how valuable you are. I know how much I appreciate you. And mind you, this is the owner who controls this. Like, he can pay.
It's not like it's a GM who has to say one thing but knows the owner won't give him the money.
This is the person that CeeDee's listening to saying all this stuff, and he's like, you keep telling me this. But the only thing that I will respond to right now is the dollar signs that you end up telling me match what the value is that you're telling me also that you can appreciate out of me. So for me, I'm all about CeeDee Lamb on this one, and he's deserving of it. With what he was able to do this year, what he is in the National Football League as far as his rankings in terms of where he fits in that wide receiver list of hierarchy, he's right up there deserving of a big payday.
Yeah, and I'm with Greg on this. I know you're going to be surprised by that, Nick, but I do think there's something to the don't tell me you love me, show me you love me, okay? And the fifth-year option was designed to give the team the ability, if you draft a guy in the first round, to have the rights to him for that extra year at a wage that's supposed to be comparable to what his peers are getting. But the reality is not many players in general play out that fifth year in the fifth-year option. And the other fifth-year option receiver right now is Brandon Ayuk, and we know what's going on with him. So from a league perspective, it's not realistic because guys aren't getting that fifth year as first-rounders. So that's one precedent. That's the league precedent. And then from the Cowboys precedent, after Dak's third year, he held out. Okay, so he holds out after his third year and gets the biggest contract ever for a running back. So
Zeke did.
Not Dak, Zeke.
Yeah.
He gets the biggest contract ever. So from a Dallas Cowboys precedent, they've established that they're willing to pay guys earlier. So now with CeeDee, he's actually played through the full 4 years, a year further than Zeke played out, and he wants to get paid. So there's a league precedent and there's a Cowboys precedent that both say those guys should get paid. So I get where CeeDee's coming from.
This is one of the most baffling contract disputes I can remember. Almost any other one of these, there has been a part of me where I'm like, okay, I kind of get why there is a conflict here. I'll just stick with wide receivers for a minute. T. Higgins in Cincinnati. I totally understand what's going on there. What's going on there is we paid Joe. We're going to have to pay Jamar.
Yep.
Can we have the 3 highest paid guys on our team be quarterback, wide receiver, wide receiver? Probably not, and so we can't do it. All right, got it. Brandon Ayuk situation. It seems like the Niners valued him at a number. The market then exploded. They're like, we're already paying Debo. We've already invested this much in a running back, a tight end, left tackle. We can't go higher. And I think also we think you're a really good player, but not a number 1 at your position like CeeDee might be. And so that one at least I understand to a degree. This one I don't get at all. It is a player that is coming off his best season of his career. That's similar to Ayuk. But at a position where you have no one else. Like if we put last year's numbers for CeeDee Lamb against everyone else currently on the Cowboys combined into one super player, they're worse than CeeDee Lamb. Measurably worse across the board except for total touchdowns where they're even. That's 7 dudes.
Yeah.
And so I don't think CeeDee Lamb is the best receiver in the league. I do think he might be the most indispensable skill position player in the league, given the context of his team.
Yep.
So, like,
Well, to add to that context, when the other group is producing at that level, which isn't very impressive, it's taking no pressure off of CeeDee.
Correct.
So everybody then is paying that's that level of production with him being the only person you really have to stop. So, which makes it even more significant in terms of what his contribution was.
Very quickly before we move on, I just want your perspective on this, Greg, and maybe the answer might just be no, not at all. But Jerry's comments make it seem like practice/training camp doesn't matter at all. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be playing in this game anyway. We think you're going to be here by week 1, so what does it matter? For a receiver at that point in his career, if he shows up the day before the 3 days before the first game of the year, do you expect him to be as sharp as he would had he shown up today?
No. There's no way you can emulate the timing, the route running, the level of stamina that you're going to have to sustain throughout a four-quarter game. Again, alluding to what we just talked about, the value that he provides this team. He is the driving force of this offense. It's not, okay, we have a running game that we're going to support him with, or our quarterback is going to disperse the ball to 5 other guys. And that's not the case with the Dallas Cowboys. It is CeeDee Lamb, and then others jump on board.
And then it's also you're missing the work in the pads, which takes some getting used to, the work against defensive backs, the work against different coverages, whatever the new installs have been, whatever they've added to the offense, and really getting an understanding of how that fits, what the adjustments are. There's a lot of levels to it. To just go in cold and expect to operate at a high level.
It just seems crazy for a player that I'm certain they're going to pay. It just seems like I don't think there's any scenario where they don't pay this player. So to have it not done is crazy to me. All right, let's move on to the quarterback for a moment. Dak had a summer Friday sitting out of practice.